So guys, we wanted to cover the newest update, specifically the 1.3.9, the latest major update we got. We wanted to just go over the positives, the negatives, and everything in between. So without further ado, let's begin. First, we are going to start with the pros. The pros of this last update. Number one is the new Descendant, Harris. She's fun, she's overpowered, and I think she delivers a gameplay style that's more engaging. You don't just use your skills, or you just don't use the weapon. It's kind of like in between, specifically if you're using the new swords.
When Harris was first announced, they showed her on the live stream, and I thought, I don't know how good she's really going to be. She kind of looked like a combination of like Ajax or Kyle or whatever kind of. They said CQC for sure, but she's so much better than that. She is incredible. We've said Beauty and the Beast. She's both of them. She's awesome to play, fun to play, a little bit different, more engaging for me than just running around hitting Q on a mouse and keyboard. I don't know what button it would be on a controller, but just running around hitting Q, or whatever. Very fun, not too hard of a grind in general for her. For us, we got a little bit lucky, but Harris is definitely one of the big bright spots to the update.
Another positive to that update for me was the new dungeon, the supermassive dungeon. It felt fully new, it felt different, it didn't feel like a reuse of the content they already have. And overall, I think, not counting how tanky or not tanky the enemies were, I thought it was a fun, quick, different run.
I agree. The supermassive dungeon was fun, and we've had to run it quite a bit, not maybe as much as Void Vessel 2, but if I had to compare the two of them, I prefer the Supermassive Dungeon. I'm not saying it's amazing or like the best thing we've ever seen, but it's okay. I'm not like disgustingly sick of it yet. And like I said, I preferred it over Void Vessel 2. It just, in my opinion, was better. Yes, the enemies were a little bit tanky, but we did 2 or 3 runs and it wasn't bad. We knew exactly what we had to do, how they were going to spawn, and it wasn't a big deal. And we play as a duo. So overall, I thought the dungeon was okay.
Another thing I like about this last update was the continuation of the main story, finally knowing what was going on with Alpha and what is happening after his death.
I agree. I thought the story, at least like the cinematics, getting us through all the stuff to the final main cinematic was okay. It was engaging, I guess. Engaging would be the right word, I guess. It was a little bit more engaging because it was, I don't know how shocking it really was. It kind of felt like it was leading up to that with Alpha sacrificing himself, kind of. But, I mean, the story isn't great to begin with, but they did okay. They did okay.
If you follow the channels, you know how disappointed we were with the first 2 swords, with the Shadow and the Deus Ex. But I would say that the Hypernova was a positive addition to this part of the season. It was interesting to be able to throw it and have some range, and also the way you can just attack really fast and almost kind of move with it. I enjoy it. I liked it.
I agree with you. I think the Hypernova is, even though it's a sword, it's different. It has that range. You have the attacks on it are a little bit different because you swing, and then you do like a spin, but then you can swing really, really, really fast for a while. I think that's fun. It is a little unfortunate. It is just in the battle pass, so if you don't buy the battle pass, you're only going to have it upgraded enhanced, I guess. You're only going to have the unique ability enhanced twice, but even just having it enhanced twice and putting some cores in it and building it out a little bit, it still was kind of fun. And one last thing, we probably kind of ended it, but one last thing I wanted to add to the pros is they do balancing, some reworking. And while Glay and Haley were the main ones, and I know there was some stuff going on with Haley that they kind of fixed by the time you see this video, we're kind of working on her. We want to get a video for it, but she's fun. She's good. She's never been one of my favorites. I've never been the biggest fan of Haley, but she's more fun. She's really strong. And I like the changes they've done. So I would say some of those smaller, well, I wouldn't say it was a small change what they did to Haley, but some of those balancing and reworking and things like that they did to the game were definitely good too.
Moving on to the cons about this update. Number one, I think the most important one, because people were complaining like crazy, was the performance issues. Frequent crashes, freezes, and poor FPS even during the cutscenes were like the normal, and a lot of people couldn't even play this new update.
Yeah, the performance, it was Axiom had performance issues. They kind of tried to make them better. They never really like fully fleshed it out, but it got better. And then for me at least, the season was fine. It really was fine. It was great. I didn't have any crashes. I didn't have problems, but I heard those crashes were on console, not just on PC. But I was fine. And then they tried to fix that, and Albion performance was terrible. It was just constantly hitching all the time, and it would do it. Whatever they did, they made it worse. And then they did come back and finally get another one out and seem to have smoothed it out, and it's a lot better than it was before. But yeah, at least at the beginning, that was sketchy. That was really sketchy.
In my own experience, the game wasn't running great when the new update came out. I had a lot of like stuttering and no smooth FPS, but it wasn't really crashing. I was able to get through the cutscenes and everything just fine. Then they added a hotfix pretty much right away. I don't know if it was the day after or the 24 hours after to try to stop the crashing. And that was bad for me. After they added the hotfix, my game was constantly crashing, especially when I was in Albion. And recently, after the November 12th update, it looked like they finally figured out what was wrong with the game. And right now it's just running more normal. Not perfect, but more normal for me. Everybody knows this game is really repetitive, but I think adding the organic matter, the new materials you need to craft, Harris, and the High Master weapon being shared for both of them in the same dungeon made it even worse, made it even more repetitive.
I mean, I agree with it that it kind of sucks that you shared materials with it, but since it wasn't like the Void Vessel and you didn't have the crates to open, you just get it as a drop at the end, a random 4 to 12. Maybe you get lucky and get a random 100 drop. That does suck because it just feels like it takes forever. And I think it's because they want the content to last for a while before the next big update. So I see what they're doing. I'm not really heavily criticizing them for it. I guess for me, it was more weird that they shared the same material than anything. I think that having it, we should have put this in the positives, but having it, lowering it for the weapon to 50 instead of 100 and just having 100 for Harris was a good thing. But it's weird to me that you use the same material, basically, is what's weird to me.
If you guys remember, we said that we liked the new dungeon. It felt new and fresh, and it wasn't too bad as long as you knew how to fight the boss and everything. But they sold it like it was massive, literally called super massive. In the dev stream, they said that was going to be this overwhelming feeling when you were inside. I really think the Void Vessel 2, like the second mission we got for the Void Vessel, felt bigger than this dungeon.
I 100% agree. I think the Void Vessel, the room, I don't know exactly what room it is. It's right before you slide down. It's where those guys that put that little like beam on you is, where you sometimes could die. That room was huge. It was way bigger, I think, than most of the supermassive dungeon. And they hyped it up by saying how overwhelming it would be, and it just didn't feel like it. I mean, you fight the boss in this little circle room. The only overwhelming part was where you take the hover bike and you go to the final room where the boss is. They have that one Colossus in that room, and they kind of made it sound like there was going to be. I don't want to say they made it sound like it, but they implied kind of that I thought there was going to be more Colossus in there. There's going to be a bunch hanging from the walls and stuff, not just one suspended from the ceiling. So that was a little bit of a disappointment. I think if they would have not hyped it the way how big it was supposed to feel and massive, it would not have been a problem. Also, they said that, we have like these moving platforms and different mechanics. They have one moving platform that completely stops. You don't even need to be on it. You just have to get on it to make it move and proc the next area. So that was a little bit of a disappointment to me and kind of a con, I guess, a negative. But at the same time, it still was okay. But yeah, there's definitely some things that, some problems I had with the new dungeon.
And the last negative thing to the update for us was the extra missions you had to do, like the extra quests you had to do after Alpha died in the main quest. For me, it felt completely unnecessary. I know you were kind of checking on your descendants to be sure they were doing fine, how we're coping with the news, but it just felt like chores. It was really boring and annoying to do.
It felt like that main storyline was meant to end after the main cutscene, and then it kept going, and I thought, well, maybe there's something else is going to happen. Maybe there's going to be a cutscene or something, but there never was. I think we did a final mission in Axiom, and they just teleport out, and that's it. It doesn't say end, doesn't say complete, nothing. It was the chores. You run around, do a bunch of chores, talk to them a little bit. I mean, one time we're just getting like something for Jaber's drum set. It just whatever. But I, I get why they did it because it was the aftermath. But I just felt like they could have done that better. That felt a little bit lazy to me.
Separated from the pros and the cons, we wanted to talk about a few minor complaints. They are not really that bad that we feel, oh, this is hurting the update or the season. But number one for us, we don't buy the battle pass. And normally they give us 3 versions of the same weapon. So you can craft it once, not craft it. You have it once, and then you can enhance the unique ability twice. Last time when we got the launcher, we only got 2 versions. This time, the day of the release of that date, we had no free version, so we assume that was intentional. It appears to be a bug. They fixed it. Now we have 3 versions of the Hypernova, but that was a minor complaint, at least from the people that don't buy the Battle Pass.
I think that this section for me is just more on the fence. I'm literally on the fence. I'm not saying it was good or bad necessarily. It's just I don't know. And I think with the Hypernova Battle Pass weapon, day 1, it was not available. And then some people were quick to jump in and defend it and say it was in the comments and say that it was a bug. It very well 100% could be a bug. That's what they say, so you have to just take their word for it. The problem is I don't trust people at all, in general, just people, let alone Nexon. So was it a bug? Probably. More than likely it was, because it seems weird that they would have done it, but they were trending in that direction anyways, like you said, with giving us only 1 upgrade for the launcher and whatever, and then not at the beginning not seeing it available for free at all. So I just don't trust them. It might be true, and I'm not saying it's not. I just, whatever I said, this is just kind of me on the fence about it, but it isn't a big deal because we have it now, so it's kind of behind us.
And one thing that I haven't had the chance to really try, because I got them for other characters, but I haven't got them for the ones I really wanted, is the Ancestor modules. It feels like this game is going to always be adding something for you to grind, especially in game, where you can make your character a tiny bit stronger. Before it was the Arc Tuning tree, then the added limitation cells, and then the trigger modules, and now we have the Ancestor modules. I don't really have a problem with them, but I haven't had the experience to see how bad or good or easy are to obtain. I think they are really easy to get, but how easy is to get what you want?
Again, I'm very on the fence with it. They can go pretty much anywhere in the character build and just run one of the regular module sockets. And they, like you said, they're really easy to get. It's not the grind, and the game has to have a grind. If it doesn't have grind, you don't have a game. We've been over this a million times, but the way you re-roll them, because you get a version of it, it can be a different socket type, whatever, but you get one and you can re-roll it. Every time you re-roll it, you can't lock, at least I don't see it, I've only done it 3 times, but you can't lock it in like you can when you readjust the perks on a weapon. So you pick a tab, what you want, and then you roll, and it's like 30,000 gold, and then I think it's 5 of the superconductive cooling unit, which you get just playing the game, kind of. But to get the roll you want is going to be really, really difficult. If you can't lock anything in, it's going to be very, very difficult. So you re-roll, and then the first time it's like 30,000 and 5 of the superconductive cooling unit. The second time it's doubles. It's 60 gold, and then 10 superconductive cooling unit. Third time 90. It just keeps going up by 30 every time, 30 and 5. So eventually it gets so expensive that it's not even worth it. At 5, it's just like, all right, I give up. At 5, I give up and I just dismantle it, and hopefully I get a better one and start over again. So you'd have to get all the rolls you want on it, a god roll. And to do that, it could get very, very expensive. So just kind of on the fence. I'm not saying they're bad, just the way you level it up kind of is a little iffy for me.
And finally, another thing we are kind of in the fence because we haven't fully finished it, but it felt good right away pretty much, was the new weapon, the Hive Master, the one that doesn't even look like a weapon, it looks like it's alive and supposedly shoots insects.
I think the reason I'm on the fence about it is because I just don't know. When we tested it, we didn't have the unique ability even leveled up once, and I have it leveled up once, but I can't do more, and you can't even do it once because the materials, just getting the materials from the super supermassive dungeon is kind of difficult. So I don't know. The gun's probably really good, really fun. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm also not saying it's good because I don't know. I don't know, haven't read about it, haven't watched anything, so kind of on the fence right now, but it definitely doesn't feel like a negative. It's just we haven't enhanced it fully.
So in summary, there were really good stuff like Harry's and the Hypernova and the continuation with the main story and etc. And some other things that we thought hurt the update. I don't think this time drove that many players away like the update for the two swords last month. So overall, I think they did better with this last update than they did in the previous one.
We've had 4 main updates, right, for the season. We got, I'm just going to kind of go through them quick, but we got Nell and Axiom, which was a nice big one because, and Wall Crash, I think, because it was the first one. Performance was spotty, but aside from that, it was okay. And then we got Luna, which she was super fun. If you haven't built her, go build her because she's really fun. I don't really remember what else was in that. And then the sword one. The sword one was not good. I felt like it actually pushed players away and it just was terrible. And it felt like a horrible direction. Then they talked about the future of the game and stuff like that. They came out with this patch and it was much better. In my opinion, this one was much better than the sword one. I still don't think it's where they talked about how they want to do better in the future, but I personally don't think a lot of that is going to happen until 2026. But this was okay, even not having a lot of like completely changing things all the way around or going in a different direction. It was still fun, so I would consider this relatively decent update. It had negatives to it, obviously, but it was okay.
I really think if the update didn't release the way it did with the performance issues, overall people will have been happier with what we got in the last update. So now guys, it's your turn to tell us how you feel about this update, and thank you so much for watching.